Travis, thank you so much for being on Confession Box.
It's my pleasure.
Yes. We hear so many great stories that help people out there, and yours is one of them. And I can't wait for everybody to hear this. You are also talking about addiction, you know?
Yeah,
But yours is a little different. You have an interesting backstory.
I do.
Something that will kind of give an explanation, not an excuse. But all of us come from somewhere, and all of us, there's a reason for everything.
Always.
Where are you from?
Well, originally I'm from Florida, actually. I was born in Margate, but my earliest memory is living in Lake Worth, Florida. That was a special house. It was rough. It was rough on my mom. My mom had a lot of difficulty being a single parent. At that point, she, had been divorced from my father from quite some time. They had tried to reconcile once or twice. It didn't work out, unfortunately. They did have some issues, anger, and they were both alcoholics, and it didn't go well.
So I think I read somewhere in your story where they kind of still live together after being divorced for a while. Is that true? Or
Yeah, they did.
How'd that work out?
Well, basically, so I have two brothers. One is about a year and a half younger than me. The other is literally a decade younger.
And okay, explain.
So my parents were divorced, and sometimes you hear about these toxic relationships people have, where they always butt heads and bad things happen, but they end up coming back together at some point.
Right.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
So that's how my youngest brother, Joey, was born.
Joey. Okay.
Yeah.
So we settled in Florida and got the 3 boys going on. And after a while, I read where they just completely kind of just called it quits.
They did. And those are some bad memories for me.
Yeah. How did it make you feel as a young man? Sometimes you just get used to a situation. Sometimes you're just used to the fighting, but you know that he's there and he loves you. Your mom loves you. And then all of a sudden, it's gone.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
There was a lot of feelings, honestly. We're calling it, excuse me, a lot of what I felt was powerless.
Wow, what a word.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Time.
When you're, that young and you can see physical violence occurring, you wish you could do something.
Yeah.
You wish you could step in and help in some way, but you have to have, that person know that they need to remove themselves. And in my instance, both of them were guilty. I wish I could say it was, I don't wish I could say anyway, but there was nobody at fault singularly. For instance, I would see my dad put my mom against the wall a few times, and I'd wake up to cop cars taking my mom out, where my dad had hit him in the head with an iron skillet, or my mom had hit him in the head with an iron skillet. So, it wasn't a healthy place whatsoever, but powerless, and you do get afraid,
Right.
Of course, but like you said, you do get used to it.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. You get used to screaming. You get used to tuning it out. But not always.
So, 10 years old, 12 years old, are you in the house, just you, the boys, and mom at this time?
Yeah, so mom moves smartly and decides to get an apartment. That's all we could really afford at that time. And we get a 2-bedroom apartment, and it's up near where my grandfather lives, my mother's father. He was kind of the patriarch. My mom's Italian, so sometimes it doesn't work that way in Italian families. But he was the patriarch.
Okay.
So he, took care of her. He always did. My mom was always the black sheep of the family. I mean, that's self-admitted, and she knows it. That's what I love about her. She's very self-aware.
And she's honest.
She's honest. She knows everything she's done, and the places she's put herself in, and everybody else. But there wasn't a lack of love from her family. They always tried to help. So all that to say, my grandfather assisted her in getting a place for us for a little while, and we lived there for about a couple of years. Yeah, it was a tough time though, because mom had to do all the work. She had to provide for 3 boys, growing boys.
Wow.
It's rough, and not having a father figure and dealing with all the stuff we dealt with.
Right.
We were rambunctious. We were just
Boys.
Yeah.
Just boys. And after a while, I think I read where she met someone else.
She did, actually.
And how did you settle in with that, you and the other guys?
At first, it's funny because you're very protective of your mom, especially when you grow up and you see the things that we're talking about, violence, and you see older males as a threat. Always.
Wow.
Now, when this happened, I was 15, maybe 16, if I was lucky. But at that time, I had grown quite a bit. I was 6'1", and I was about 200 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a big kid. So I had some aggression issues too, growing up with that. And, at first I was very resistant, and I was kind of mean to the guy. And that was an issue. But other than that, once that dust settled, we had a good place.
So the words I hear from you, Travis, pretty powerful. One of them is powerless. The one is rambunctious. The other one is pretty resistant. Those words are sometimes a recipe for anxiety, for you to go into a hole of your own and try to figure out how to get out.
Yeah. At that time, I finally had a stable-ish place to live. And, my mom obviously still had her problems, but I was finally able to do kind of my own personal inventory. And I was becoming a little more cognizant of who I was as a person. I'm getting through high school, and I want to know what I want to do.
Right.
So as time progressed for me, I started recognizing some strange feelings and I guess what you would call maybe symptoms. But, it's hard to tell sometimes. I didn't know what it was. I distinctly recall certain things, like I would breathe very heavily from time to time, and I'd be near my mom. And she would say, why are you doing that? And it's just like, I don't know. I need to do it. And she's just, well, if that's a thing, you need to go to the doctor and stuff like that. And it just never became anything. So I always felt this constant strain and tension, just laying in my neck and my shoulders.
Something, the word maybe anxiety?
Definitely anxiety.
Definitely anxiety.
Definitely anxiety. At the time, I had no idea that's what that was.
Right.
And coupled with that, I had some sleeping issues and other things that, I only slept maybe 3 hours a night.
Which is a recipe for a disaster by
Always.
itself.
Yeah, for sure. So coping with those two things, I still managed to make my way through high school and do very well as a straight-A kid, and but when I was 15, I ended up getting a job with my mother's boyfriend's company.
Okay.
This is when the anxiety gets really bad for me.
And why is that? I mean, why does it get bad when you get a job? Everybody wants a job.
Yeah, no, you know, and it wasn't even the moment I got the job, truly.
Okay.
I tend to excel at things. I know that can sound kind of pompous.
No, I understand.
I think one of the reasons is I don't sleep much, and I do focus a lot on what I'm doing, and I care about what I'm doing, and I'm focused on it. One thing my father did give me, for sure, is a work ethic and getting the job done, and that's that. So when I was 15, I started doing very minimal tasks in a metal fabrication job, like inserting hardware, little things, nothing crazy. But over the next 4 years or so, I got more and more responsibility to the point where, you know, I was being groomed to be the chief financial officer of the company. However, that's when it started really getting
That's
bad.
when the anxiety started manifesting itself. Seems like you were pretty stressed out at a young age.
Very stressed out. I was 20 at the time.
Wow, Travis.
Yeah.
And it seems like you've been running, trying to find that little peaceful place in your mind since you were 12.
Yeah. And honestly, I didn't. What's worse is you don't know what exists.
Don't know. You got used to the pain.
You if you grow up with something, you know, you don't know what's missing until you find it.
What did you do to replace or to calm the anxiety?
Well, unfortunately, like some people, you know, that tend to do this, I ended up turning to illegal substances. Many. I really didn't have a drug or anything of choice. But on particularly stressful occasions, you know, I would drink a lot. I would drink an entire liter of whiskey, or I would take a pain pill that was a pretty potent pain pill. And what was strange was it didn't have as much of an effect as it should have on me. And I found that odd. However, it did something that really changed me. It calmed me down.
Right.
It killed the anxiety. It helped with that.
Wow. And, you know, unfortunately, we will see someone who is drunk or someone who is high on prescription medication or even medication and immediately address them as a drunk, address them as a drug addict, not knowing that 12-year-old little boy had to grow up taking care of his mama.
Yeah.
Not knowing that at 15, 16 years old, you had to go to work and make it happen. But we just see the outside.
Yeah.
We see the after results.
Yeah. And everybody does, you know.
And everybody does. And that's we shouldn't be there, but we are there.
Yeah.
And so you give me the positive side to dealing with this, because evidently you have accepted the fact that there's something wrong or there was something wrong. Give me your success story.
So with the occasional drug use, you know, that doesn't end there. Unfortunately, that turns into what you would consider recreational, then what you would be called as an addict. And I'd gotten to a point in my life where I was working 12 hours a day. I had just gotten married. I was taking 2 courses a semester on top of working 12 hours a day. So I was actually functioning majority of the time, 18 hours straight. So with that came a lot of painkillers.
Yeah.
A lot of painkillers. And this was really bad in Florida specifically.
Right.
It was kind of the hub of where the opiate crisis started.
Wow.
The doctors there just started throwing it away.
Jeez.
All that to say, you know, I was about 24, and my marriage was just crazy. It was a sham. I had met my wife. We were both addicts at the time.
Wow.
it was a product of where I had started myself out. What ended up happening, frankly, was, I told myself I never want to use a needle. I never want to do that. And it just got there. And when I did, I recall just sitting in my car and going,
enough.
this is it.
I
can't do it. Yeah.
And you just found the strength in yourself to get it together.
Yeah.
We are going to bring you back because we gotta know part 2 of this.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to see you on this side of the earth because those opioids take so many lives.
They do.
And I'm so glad to see you.
No, thank you.
And have you here talking to me because you're going to help so many people.
Of course.
As you know, and like you have already done today, this is called Confession Box. And you have done just that, confessed. But there is another part to this show.
Yeah.
And what we want you to do, we want you to reach into our confession box.
I was wondering what this was.
Yeah.
Yeah?
We're going to have you reach in. We want you to pull a word out.
Okay.
You open it up. We're going to share it with our audience.
All right.
And then you are going to describe that word as it is to the story you just told me.
Perfect.
Perfect?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, this is exciting.
Let's do this.
All right.
And Travis, your word is?
My word is sorry.
Sorry. We turn it around. We're going to show them that really does say sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as it is to your story, is there anything that you're sorry for that happened? Maybe something that didn't happen? Use that word and elaborate.
Oh, sorry. Wow. There's a lot. There's a lot to be sorry about, unfortunately. I guess the biggest thing that pops in my head is kind of in that time, I was very negligent. I was very self-serving. You know, it's with addiction. It's very tough. All you're concerned about is the next hit.
The next hit.
So in that time, I did. I hurt a lot of people.
Wow.
I took money from my brother. That's one thing I'm so sorry for.
Yeah.
Could never apologize enough for that. But that, and in general, my family, just, a lot of them don't understand the whole story.
The backstory.
The backstory and the story after, it's finding out what the root causes and all that.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, all people see is the junkie.
Yeah.
Or the drunk. And it's unfortunate, but I'm sorry that never got to be really explained to a few people.
Yeah. But I'm here to tell you, Travis, it doesn't stop there. Your story keeps going on because you're living. You're alive.
Yeah, I'm blessed.
And you are blessed. And guess what? As human beings, we have a short memory. Half of them don't even, they probably forgot what they're mad at you about.
Yeah.
If they are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But now you got to forget. You got to forget and forgive yourself.
Thank you.
I think that's the worst.
Yeah.
Forgive you.
Yeah, and it's a day-to-day thing.
It's a day-to-day thing. But join the club.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Like, we're human beings. But I think you are an awesome person. I feel your spirit, if you will. And I feel how humble you are and how humbled and how much you want to do better. It's all over you.
Thank you so much.
You're a great person. You continue to be great.
You're pretty great yourself.
All right, then. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing. And we got to continue the story. This is part 2 for you.
Oh, yeah.
I got to bring you back.
I'd love to.
All right. Thank you, Travis. All right.